Last year, on May 9th, 2014 to be exact, the Friday before Mother's Day, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a huge surprise. I had no family history. I had no bad mammograms prior to. I had no lumps in his self-examination. I was really, really shocked. I was in disbelief. But sure enough, I had breast cancer. And really rapidly planned a course of treatment, met with a surgeon, had a lumpectomy, had some lymph nodes removed, and initially we thought that after the diagnosis with this very small lump, that I was just going to have the surgery and radiation treatments. But with the excision of the lymph nodes, they found a little bit of cancer in my lymph nodes and determined that I should go through chemotherapy as well. And from the very, very beginning, I was constantly amazed at the level of care that I was given from my doctors and my nurses. My oncologist sat down with me for 45 minutes and drew pictures and wrote stories on pages and pages of paper and went over my options with me, and I was really, really grateful for the communication and the care that I received. I'll never forget the feeling of being told that I had cancer. I was so afraid that I was gonna die, that I wouldn't be there for my son. And because of the people that took care of me, I think I just was ready to fight the fight. And that's where the story began.
Excellent. So how has your perspective changed since you were originally diagnosed and to now when your treatment has...
I'm a survivor. Now that I'm a survivor. My experience of cancer treatment, breast cancer treatment, was mostly based on a close friend who had been diagnosed with breast cancer about 12 years ago. And I was terrified. Her treatment, her surgery, her chemotherapy was unbelievable. It was so difficult, and she was so sick and just so... My oncologist tells me still, he said, you know, we sliced you, we poisoned you, and we burned you. and 10 years ago, that was exponentially more challenging. They've changed treatment so much in the last 10 years, certainly, especially with chemotherapy treatments and how they affect your body and ways to address the side effects of the chemo that they didn't have before. And one of the amazing things about changes in treatment, I think, is in talking with my radiologist, we talked about the fact that I'm young. I'm 56 now. I was 55 when I was diagnosed. He said, you've got a lot of years left to live, and we need to think about what's going to happen because of what we're doing to you now. Radiation is not great for your body anyway. Chemotherapy is not great for your body, but because people are living so much longer now, people are living 30 and 40 years, they need to think about what it means. So we created a course for my radiation treatments that was geared to the expectation that I would live a lot longer, and I don't want to get cancer from radiation treatments 20 years down the road. So they've changed treatment a lot, and even just like I said, the chemo treatments, they have medications for the nausea now. And they're very much more responsive to the side effects, and they didn't know things like that. So that treatment process has changed a lot. It's kind of come out of the dark ages, and I have kind of these visions of, you know, going into a dungeon and being strapped to the gurney and, you know, for your chemo treatments, and it's not like that anymore. So it's changed quite a bit.
Well, that's very good.
So, could you share your experience with Strides Against Breast Cancer with us and how that affected you?
I have to stop getting so emotional. So last October, I had my last chemo treatment on October 2nd. And that was a Friday. The following Saturday, so it was October 11th, I think, I participated in the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk. I'd heard about it beforehand, and initially when I started my chemo treatments, I thought I'm going to march down that 5K, and I'm going to, because I felt so great. But after I finished my last chemo treatment, I was still determined to participate, but I did it in a wheelchair. And my family, I had lots of family there with me, and I walked when I could and wheeled when I couldn't. And I was so embraced by a community of love. Cars were honking as we walked down the street. People came up to me and gave me gifts and hugs and wishes of love and encouragement. And as I approached the finish line, they have what I call the aisle of bikers. It's a double row of bicycle guys, great big Harleys and great big guys covered with tattoos and beards, and every single one of them is high-fiving you and hugging you and crying, and it's just amazing how, because they've all been touched by this. So many people have been touched. They have mothers and spouses and sisters, and they've all been touched by it, and they care so much. And then at the end there was an Elvis impersonator. So, and the talks that people have before the walk, and the booths that are set up, and it's just such a loving, powerful community of people, and that gives you so much strength and joy. So that was amazing, and I participated again this year, my second annual, second of many to come, but I was able to volunteer this time, and that meant a lot to me to be a part of the giving side of that. So.
Perfect.
So, if you had to share a message with a best friend who'd just been diagnosed with cancer or with breast cancer, then what would you tell them? What would be your advice?
I know you're afraid, but it's going to be okay. I believe that this was given to me by God because He knew I was strong enough, and I didn't know I was strong enough. And I would tell someone that I cared about that you're not alone. I know what you're going through. I know how you're feeling. You will be amazed at the strength that you have. that is fueled by all the people that care so much. And you'll come through this journey in a better place and stronger. Thanks. Thanks to God, and thanks to all the people that support you with this.